or you didn't know how to access them. And, and unfortunately our educational system here in Chicago, our public educational system isn't equipped to fully support students at all times. And even for me, it definitely wasn't. I remember our college counselor in high school only cared about really the students that were in sort of those advanced classes. And we had something called the IB program at our high school. And those were the, I remember the college counselor like, well, she said something along the lines of like, I'm focusing on this, or that school is really meant for me to focus to give support to those students, because you don't really fall into where the college really thinks you should. And I'm like, well, okay. And you leave there just with like, well, fine, then I won't, if you're not going to help me, then I'll figure out how to do it myself, or I just won't apply to that school. Clearly I might not even have, mind you, I thought I was a smart student.
I think you're smart too.
I was like, I think I could have gone to like University of Chicago if I had, the support of my educational system to help me figure out how to navigate their application process. But me, Lord opens the doors that need to be opened and closes the ones that need to be closed. But I mean, I think that's been my experience growing up. Just everything, being an immigrant, not myself an immigrant, but a child of immigrants, and just navigating this sort of bubble that is Chicago. And like I know you mentioned when we first started, like growing up in Illinois. I don't know what it is growing up in Illinois, because I was like, for me, I think Illinois is
Chicago to you, pretty much.
Yeah, like yes, like I'm like. And as an adult, I've gone and I've seen more of Illinois, and I've traveled into its other areas. Some areas scare me though, so I won't stay in them because
there are a lot of people of color, so you're not alone. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
So, but I also, so it's very different, and I think you can definitely go into that as well. At some point of what that difference is for me now as an adult and when I see it. Because for me, I don't identify with Illinois first. I identify with Chicago, which is such a weird thing to say, but it's sort of like Chicago and then Illinois comes versus the state of Illinois. And I know there's a lot of people in Illinois who hate Chicago, who are like frustrated with us because there's people that just don't quite understand why we're still part of Illinois, not our own state. But I think that's in a nutshell how I would describe growing up. I don't know any other questions that come to mind from that for you. Like, I don't know.
On so many. I think, we're going to do some bonus ones, but I think because so many things you touched on faith, you touched on growing up here as a first generation Mexican American, but still having family back in Mexico. You touched on the Black and brown relation. You touched on Chicago being a city of neighborhoods, which it is. So many things I want to get into, but I think we'll get into this one, but then I think we'll probably do a little bonus feature. But I think wanting to hear a little bit more about talking about the introvertness. I made that up, probably introvertness, because I also consider myself an introvert. Well, you're like, what are you talking about? And other people say the same thing. But I think we share a lot of commonalities with each other. And just like hearing you talk about how your mom is kind of like the life of the party. She likes to talk. My mom is similar. Like, my mom can go to the dollar store or Walmart, and she will talk to anybody. She's like, oh my God, where did you get that loaf of? I was looking for that. Where'd you get those shoes from? And she can spark up a conversation with anybody. She always has been able to. So it's so interesting to hear how your mom is the same way. She can just talk to people, and she loves to entertain. But here, her daughter's like, no, not today. So just interested in to know, is how does introvertness play a role in your life, like right now? Like, how is it just like day to day, just like, even friends or just more professionally?
Oh my gosh, so many questions. So many things come to mind. I think Okay, I think I'll start with my personal life. Most people that know me, understand me, and definitely know that I am probably not the first person you're gonna call to want to hang out and say like, hey, spur of the moment. Like I'm not a spur of the moment kind of like, yeah, totally. Unless I'm feeling it. Sometimes I have the energy because I've been conserving all this energy that I have it. But I definitely think that um I can I can't even describe it. See, this is how much of my introvertedness is that I can't even describe it.
I put you on the spot. My bad.
No, but it's good for me. It's good. It's good for me to be put on the spot. But I would say that I definitely value, quality over quantity, with especially with friendships and just relationships in general. Um, and it's definitely something that I see now as an adult, where friendships that either I care about or I know that I can just text them and it was like nothing. There's been no time has passed by because that's the kind of relationship that I've built with them, where they understand that just because I'm not texting you every day or every week or every month, or I'm not talking to you, and it could be where a few months pass by, doesn't mean that I don't value you. It just, means that I treasure you, and I'm gonna reach out to you. But if you reach out to me, I am quick to really respond. If I haven't like that sort of those quality relationships that I have. Like if you reach out to me and you need me, I will definitely be there. If you text me and you go have some drinks with other people around and it's a party, then there's a 50-50 chance I ain't gonna show up because there's just too many other factors involved. But if it's one-on-one, I think the chances are a lot higher than that for me to say yes. And honestly, like and I'll share this too. There's on my timeline for TikTok, there's this one person that always comes up and is like, he's an introvert and he gives all these scenarios, and he gave one around like how to have an introvert come to your party, and like all these like things of like, make sure that they have a ride there, make sure you tell them what the itinerary for the day the party's going to be, the guest list, and all these, like make sure that they know that there's a private room for like all these like silly things that obviously nobody will ever do. But it's definitely one of those things that I realize, if someone is picking me up, I'm down. Like I'm totally down, because the thing that I think that adds up as an introvert for me, particularly as an introvert that kind of tends to slide a little bit more with anxiety, it's definitely that those unknown factors of like, oh my God, where is this party going to be? Where am I going to park? Like, who's going to be there? Like, and if there isn't somebody that willingly is like, I have friends that know me and they're like, I'll pick you up. Like, I'll take you, because they know that if it's left up to me, you're going to get a text like 5 minutes before you said the start time. And I'll be like, oh, sorry, I'm not going to be able to make it.
No.
Because I have talked myself out of it. It's just like my brain goes into this thing of like, where am I going to park? Do they have a parking lot? If they don't have a parking lot, is there street parking? And all these things where my brain just goes. And then by the end, I've talked myself out of going anywhere.
You don't want Uber? You don't want an Uber or Lyft?
It's just too much money.
That's true.
It's just way too much money. And I am a frugal person in certain areas.
That's one. Okay, I get that.
But I think personally, and I think even with family, it's been interesting, because even as an adult, when I go with, the few family that we have in the area, and they'll invite us once in a while to like a baby shower or a birthday. And I'll go because, I'm taking my parents or whatever. And I always end up being the quiet one. I'm always quiet because I'm engaged in listening. I love to listen to the conversation. I love to hear people's perspectives, and no pun intended.
Uh-huh.
But I love to hear what people have to share, or just their updates in their lives. Like, I just love kind of listening. And usually they're like, somebody, it never fails, like, Lyzeth, you've been so quiet. Like, why aren't you talking more? And I have no response. Like, I have no idea. I've never had an idea of how to respond to that, particularly with family or like family friends who would go out and they're like, and I'm like, oh, I'm just listening and it's, just enjoying the conversation. And then I hate it because then it becomes the attention comes to me and they start asking me about like my life and what I do. And then I'm like, I was enjoying just listening to everybody just talk and just doing
Just sad. Oh my gosh.
It's such a struggle for me to like, get that. So family, if you're watching, it's not that I don't want to talk. I just enjoy listening. And friends, like.
Well, I think that's such a good point because for me, like, I'll go to the party or go somewhere, but I'm also the one, like, I like to know who's there. How long is the party supposed to last? Granted, I'm not staying the whole time. I'm probably going to get there early so I can leave early. And the location's very important because if it's far, I'm not going because like I don't have a car, so I would have to Uber or Lyft or get on CTA. And if it's later in the night, I'm not getting on public transportation. So there are a lot of factors that go into it. And I'm also the one where it's like, I don't know if it's the same with you as it with me, but like it's maybe like a Monday and I'll text a friend like, hey girl, like we should go out for dinner this coming Saturday. Girl, Saturday rolls around and I'm like, you know what? Let's just like postpone. And it's so funny because my friends would be like, okay, that's fine. Because I was so excited in the moment, but then it's like the actual time to go. And I'm like, I don't want to. Ooh. I don't want to. So I get it. I get it. And I think it's just so funny that I consider us both to be introverts, but definitely different levels of it. It's just,
yes.
It's definitely so.
There are very different levels of introvertedness. I tend to skew a little bit more on the higher end of it. I would say, but and it goes into professionally as well. I think I think that deserve its own sort of maybe longer segment conversation because I have a lot to say from a professional.
We'll stick your personal as of right now.
Yeah.
We will revisit the professional side of this. But Lyzeth, I just want to say thank you for this first round of questions that you have answered so honestly and so open. And, we're going to transition into the next few questions. And some of the things that I mentioned, like I want to probe from Lyzeth around her family and her heritage, we will get to. So we'll be back. Stay tuned.
Bye.